ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं सतं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्ण पादान् सागण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीकृष्ण Chaitanya Ishwaram. Okay, I'll recite some prayers for Lord Ram. Mata Ramo Madpita Ramacandra Swami Ramo Matsakha Ramacandra Sarvaswam Me Ramachandro Dayalu Nanyam Jane Naiva Jane Na Jane लोकाभिरामं रणरङ्गधीरं राजीवनेत्रं रघुवंशनाथं कारुण्यरूपं करुणाकरन्तं श्रीरामचन्द्रं शरणं प्रपद्ये आपदामपहर्तारं दातारां सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम् रमन्ते योगिनो नन्ते सत्यानन्दे चिदात्मनि इति रामापदेनासौ परं ब्रह्म विधीयते श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं श्रीराम नाम वरानने भर्जनं भवबीजानाम् अर्जनं सुखसम्पदां तर्जनं यं दूतानां राम रामेति गर्जनम् हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for joining. So we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam chapter 9, Canto 9, chapter 10, the pastimes of Sri Ramacandra. And we have read 40 verses. So we have to read from 41 to 55 today. So Ravan has died, Ravan has been killed, he has been defeated, and his wives and all the Rakshasas' wives, they are lamenting upon their death, and they are complaining how lusty and how envious these Rakshasas were, and they wish that they had better sense than to pick a fight with Lord Ramchandra in this way and get such a death at his hands. So I think we have to read from okay, and then Lord Ramchandra had returned to Ayodhya, and we were seeing that scene of Bharat meeting with Lord Ramchandra after such a long separation, and he was serving in separation from Lord Ram so intensely, so sincerely, with so much renunciation and detachment. He was living outside of Ayodhya in Nandigram. And when he met Lord Ramchandra, how they embraced, and how Lord Ramchandra greeted other people of Ayodhya, with elderly, with brahmanas and other citizens, how he met them. So we have to read from 41. Okay, I can start with this one. Dunvanta uttarasangan, Dunvanta uttarasangan, Patim vikshaya chiragatam, Patim
Patim
vikshaya
vikshaya chiragatam.
Uttara kosala malye, Uttara
Uttaraha
kosala
kosala male.
Kiranto nanriturmuda, Kiranto
Kiranto
nanriturmuda.
Nanaturmuda.
Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The citizens of Ayodhya, upon seeing their king return after a long absence, offered him flower garlands, waved their upper clothes, and danced in great jubilation. Very bold. So this is the condition of the citizens of Ayodhya. They have also tolerated a very long separation from Lord Ram. And as Nagachand Prabhu was describing yesterday, that their mood was basically that where Ram is, that's where Ayodhya is. So when Lord Ram had been given the exile, they were all ready to, they all left Ayodhya and followed him. And so Lord Ram had to trick them so they wouldn't keep following them. So at one point he had to trick them so they would return back to Ayodhya. But these citizens are after this long absence. How are they greeting him? Of course, flower garlands. This is our very very important way in which we greet various. Like even in our sampradaya and the culture that Prabhupada has given us, flower garlands are offered to the senior Vaishnavas, and and this is the way to show respect and love, and wave their upper clothes. This is very interesting because I have now come across this three, 4 times that somebody is dancing by waving their upper clothes. So you probably know this, but in Rigari's story, when so after Mirgari had been basically purified by Narad Muni's teachings and his instructions, and he had started following those instructions, and Mirgari and his wife were living at the banks of the river in a small cottage. And then once Narad Muni and Parvat Muni went to visit him, and of course Mrigai doesn't have any means. It's not like he has a lot of opulences to offer, or a lot of things to offer to Narad Muni. So but what they did was they waved their uttariya, their upper clothes, and danced in great jubilation. The husband and wife were dancing like this, and it is the same scene is described, that they're dancing by waving their upper clothes. Similarly, in another story in 10th canto, when Krishna visits, he was invited to two people's houses at the same time. One was a king and one was a very poor devotee. Both were devotees, but one was very rich, one was very poor. And Krishna wanted to reciprocate with both, so he did not want to disappoint either. So he went to both their houses at the same time. And the king, of course, he had so many things to offer to him, chappan bhog, and there were these dancers dancing for him, and poets reciting verses and poetry in praise of, in glorification of Krishna, and many many things. They were very sophisticated things were arranged for Krishna's pleasure. Dances and poems and songs and music, everything in glorification of Krishna. But this poor fellow, the other one where Krishna went, he had nothing. He had none of these sophisticated means to show his love and his appreciation and glorify Krishna. So he was just dancing by waving his upper clothes. So that's another. This is now I'm seeing it third or fourth time where a devotee was dancing with their upper clothes in great jubilation. So it's that's we do that. We just raise our arms and just dance, because if you don't have any other ways to greet the seniors, the gurus, the Vaishnavas, you can always do kirtan and dance, and um, eh, That's and Krishna was equally pleased with both their greetings, with both their by visiting both of them. It's not like he prefers one over another. So it was the heart that he sees. But this is just a very beautiful, very innocent, very simple way, and yet very pleasing, very endearing way of pleasing the Lord. So citizens of Ayodhya are doing the same thing. Okay, that's all I have to share. Anybody else wants to share anything? And that pastime of Mrigari comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. We had last month we had read that chapter in detail. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Yes, thank you for reminding all those wonderful pastimes. So that's nice that you reminded those wonderful pastimes. And then of course, I think you all know that, but again, I just want to speak the verse for my purification. Is patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadham bhakti uparatam ashnami priyatatmana. That Krishna's mood is always that anything offered with love and devotion is accepted by Krishna. So that is the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, thank you, Nagarjuna Prabhu. I was just very excited to see this because this is the first time I had seen this type of greeting of waving your upper cloth, and so this comes again. So it's some form of greeting that I was not familiar with before, but it was very pleasing to Narad Muni and Parvat Muni in that instance, and to Krishna and now Lord Ram. But thank you. Yeah, this very important to know that Krishna is pleased by the love with which we offer.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna all the devotees. Mataji, can you repeat where else have you read this weaving with this
प्रभु जी
in this?
भागवतम में आता है एक बार तो 10th canto में when Krishna visits those two devotees और एक चैतन्य चरितामृत में से हमने पिछले महीने पूरा पास्ट टाइम रिगारी का पढ़ा था उसमें आता है सेम बिल्कुल सेम सीन that they are dancing with their uttariya waving he's waving his upper cloth and dancing in jubilation तो बहुत ही चैतन्य चरितामृत में कितना मजेदार तरीके से दिया हुआ है पास्ट टाइम इट्स वेरी नाइस टू रीड
Thank you, thank you. I never specifically noticed or paid attention, or may not have read. Thank you.
Okay, let's keep going. Anybody wants to read the next two verses?
I can read.
Yes.
Hare Krishna. Paduke bharato grinna chanach
पादुके भरतो गृह्णाच
chamara vyajanottame
चामराव्यजनोत्तमे
vibhishana sugriva
विभीषणा ससुग्रीवा
shveta chitram marutsuta
श्वेतछत्रं मरुत्सुता
dhanurnishangan shatrugna
धनुर्निषङ्गान् शत्रुघ्ना
sita tirtha kamandalum
सीतातीर्थकमण्डलुम्
abhibrad angada khadgam
अबिभ्रद् अङ्गदा खड्गम्
hemam charma hemam charmarksharannripa.
हेमं चर्मर्क्षरान्नृपा
Translation. As Vangezi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. O King, Lord Bharat carried Lord Ramachandra's wooden shoes. Sugriva and Vibhishan carried a whisk and an excellent fan. Hanuman carried a white umbrella. Shatrughan carried a bow and two quivers. And Sita Devi carried a water pot filled with water from holy places. Angad carried a sword, and Jambavan, king of the Rakshas, carried a golden shield. So, Hare Krishna. So here it's described that everyone, while they are following, the close devotees, they were all performing service to the Lord in different ways. They were carrying various things as they were following Lord Shri Ram. And Lord Bharat appropriately was carrying the shoes of Lord Ramacandra, which he had, pretty much used for ruling the kingdom in his name. Sugriva and Vibhishan were carrying a whisk to to just fan the Lord. And actually, Sugriva is king of Kishkindha, Vibhishan is now king of Lanka, and they are both whisking, fanning the Lord behind him. Hanuman is carrying a white umbrella so that for the comfort of the Lord. Shatrughan is carrying his bow and 2 quivers. So all the brothers are mentioned here. And Lakshman, why is Lakshman not here? Sita Devi was carrying the water pot. Angad was carrying the sword. So Angad is the son of Bali, and Jambavan. This I'm a little confused also. King of the Rakshas. I don't know why Jambavan is mentioned as king of the Rakshas. I don't know what Rakshas is. I don't think it is Rakshasas that we know of, but he is carrying the golden shield. So if somebody can help here, then why is Jambavan and what is Rakshas? Is that a different kind of set of pictures? Yes, Prabhuji, that's right. There is a Prabhuji, you have direct messages on to me, so I'm getting your message, but I don't know if this is something that you wanted to share with everyone. That so Abhiram Gopal Prabhu is mentioning that there is a picture with this, and I think I remember that seeing that picture also. So I'll try to look for the picture while other devotees can discuss further. Hare Krishna.
Would your painting here, the famous painting?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think Anand Kishori Mataji is sharing, seems like. Again, Prabhuji, you have direct messages to me. Or now is to everyone. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, are you sharing?
We can't see the screen, Mataji, if you're sharing it already.
I think she shared in the WhatsApp group probably. Did
Okay.
he share it?
Oh,
Okay, yeah, this is the picture I remember. I'll share it on the group here.
Yes, mother.
Let me open. Can you see my WhatsApp?
No,
Mataji,
Mataji, no.
see the Bhagavatam.
Okay. Now can you see?
Yes, Mataji.
So this is the scene that's being described. So Mother Sita is carrying the water pot. Hanuman is carrying the umbrella. Angad is carrying the sword. This is Shatrugna is carrying the
yes.
bow
Shatrugna is carrying the bow and quiver.
and arrows. Bharat is carrying the paduka.
Yes.
Sugriv and Vibhishan are doing the chamar. And
So where is Lord Lakshman?
Lakshman is not.
Maybe it is coming. Maybe it will mention next or something.
Yeah. So
And
this
then
is
I don't know why Rakshas, that if anybody knows about the Rakshas, as Jambavan as Rakshas, the king of Rakshas.
king of the rickshaws. Okay. Not sure. If somebody knows, please share. If not, we'll keep going. So this is very beautiful scene, huh? Okay. Anyone wants to read the next one? Text 44.
I can read one thing. पुष्पकास्थोऽनुतः स्त्रीर्भिः
पुष्पकास्थोनुतास्त्रीभिः
स्तूयमानश्च वन्दिभिः
स्तूयमानश्च वन्दिभिः
Vireje Bhagavan Rajan
Vireje Bhagavan Rajan
Gahesh Grahes Chandra Ivodita.
Rehesh Chandrai Bodhita.
O King Parikshit, as the Lord sat on his airplanes of flowers, with women offering him prayers and reciters chanting about his characteristics, he appeared like the moon with the stars and planets. So, describing the beauty of the Lord when he's sitting on his airplane and people are offering him prayers and flowers. Yes. आप सोने जा रहे हो?
So, anything else you want to share, Mataji? So, Shukdev Goswami is describing to Parikshit Maharaj that how he sat on his airplane of flowers. Everybody's offering him prayers, reciters chanting his glories, and he appeared like the moon, Chandra, Ramchandra, with the stars and planets. Okay, let's keep going. Anybody wants to read this?
Hare Krishna. I was
Yes.
wondering if Raksha means a bear in some other, in like Sanskrit, because when I Google Raksha, it shows the different like constellations, including the bear
Great bear.
constellation, the great bear.
Prabhu, when I had first read this shloka, I had assumed that's what it means. I did not really think much about it. But I had not looked it up, so I didn't say.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's some kind of group of species or entities, right? So, and since they belong to, since he's bear, must be bears or a group of certain animals, something like that. Okay. Anyone wants to read this next one?
Yes, Hare Krishna. Bhratra Binandanti Soyatha
Bhratrabhinandita sotha
Sotsavam Pravishtam Purim
sotsavam pravishat purim
Pravishe Rajbhavanam Guri Patni
pravishya rajbhavanam pravishya rajbhavanam
Pravishya Rajbhavanam Guru Patni Swamatram
guru
Guru Patni Samataram
mataram
Gurun Vyasyav Jana
guru
Guru Vyasya
vyasya
Varjat
varjan
Pujita Pratyaj Pujyata
pujita
Pujita
pujaya
Pratyapujayat
Vedehi Lakshmachev
Vedahi
vedahi
Lakshanam
lakshmanaschaiva
Sheva
Yathavata Samupya Yatu
yatha
Yathavat
vatsanti.
Samupeyatuh.
Translation. Thereafter, having been welcomed by his brother Bharata, Lord Ramchandra entered the city of Ayodhya in the midst of a festival. When he entered the palace, he offered obeisances to all the mothers, including Kaikeyi and the other wives of Maharaja Dashratha, and especially his own mother Kaushalya. He also offered obeisances to the spiritual preceptors such as Vasishtha, friends of his own age, and younger friends worshipped him. And he returned their respectful obeisances, as did Lakshmana and Mother Sita. In this way, they all entered the palace. Haribol.
Very good. So I think this is straightforward, that how Lord Ram is exchanging greetings with different types of devotees. So there was a huge festival, huge celebration going on that we've been reading in last few verses. And when he entered the palace, so he met the mothers and he offered obeisances. So since they are elders and his mothers, he's offering them obeisances. And then to the spiritual preceptors, so all the gurus, all the teachers like Vashishta Muni, and then the friends of his own age, so same age and younger people worshipped him, and he returned their respectful obeisances, as did Lakshman and Mother Sita also worshipped him. And in this, as did Lakshman and Mother Sita also exchanged in similar fashion as Lord Ram did. And in this way, they all entered the palace. So this is nicely highlighted here, how Lord Ramacandra is appropriately reciprocating with the people of different ages and different relationships, different levels. And we see in Lord Krishna's pastimes also how he used to greet the 5 Pandavas, how he would pay obeisances to Yudhishthir Maharaj and embrace Bhima and Arjun, and then the younger Nakul and Sahadev would touch his feet and pay obeisances to him. So like that, the proper conduct, and especially Lord Ramacandra is very, very, has topmost conduct, like ideal, the best possible acharan or etiquette is shown by Lord Ramacandra in all his dealings. So here we can see how to greet people of different ages and different relationships. Anybody wants to add anything, share anything? Shall we go on? Anyone wants to read this one? Number 47.
I can read, Mataji. Okay, somebody else can read. I think somebody else is
No,
volunteering.
go ahead, Prabhuji. I'll do the next one. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mataji. I'll do the next one. That's fine.
Oh, okay. Putran swamātarastastu
Putran swamātarastastu
pranam stanva ivotihta
Prananastana
aropayanke bhishan chantyo
Aropyanke Vishantyo
vaspauger vijahu sucha.
Bashpa Vijahu Shucha.
Translation. Upon seeing their sons, the mothers of Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, and Shatrughna immediately rose like unconscious bodies returning to consciousness. The mothers placed their son on their laps and bathed them with tears, thus relieving themselves of the grief of long separation. So here it says the mothers were all very excited seeing their sons after long separation. It's just like they couldn't wait to see their sons, and and just they wanted to shower love on them. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So in a way, Ram Lakshman, we know, were already separated from, and all the mothers, they were devoted to all the kids, and all the kids were devoted to all the mothers. But still, Ram was separated, Lakshman was separated from Sumitra. And Mother Sumitra had given both her sons in service, basically. Lakshman and Shatrughan were both serving. Lakshman was serving Lord Ram and Shatrughan was serving Bharat. So both the sons she had given in service, and Lakshman had gone to forest with Lord Ram, and Shatrughan was serving Bharat, who was living outside the Ayodhya. So it seems like there was probably not much contact between Bharat and Shatrughan with their mothers either. And so seems like after this long separation, they are reuniting. So that's why in Ramayana it is said there is so much Karunya Bhav. And I recently learned this, the difference between Karunya Bhav and, well, this is not Karunya, this is Vira Bhav. But Karunya and Vira mein difference. Ki Karunya means just like Dashrath Maharaj left, and Lord Ram could not even do his last rites, could not even see him. Similarly, Bharat could not even see him in the end. So many situations happen like this. And so Karunya means when there is no hope of reunion, when there is jab milan possible hi nahi hai. Or Viraya is described when there is always this possibility of reunion. Like Krishna left Vrindavan, but he promised that he will come back. So even though they met again after almost 100 years, but there is always this this chance that we will meet again. And so the separated people live with that hope of meeting again. So in this, we can see this Viraya Bhav and how they met again. This is Milan or reunion happening between mothers and sons. That's all I have to share. Anybody else wants to add anything?
Mataji, Karunya, you are saying a Karunya word usually reminds of compassion or something, right? Karuna, say. You're saying Karunya or Vipralamba or something else?
Vipralamba or Vira. Prabhuji, this is what I heard in Adi Gadadar's Prabhu's class, the latest one. But Viraya or Vipralamba, he's clubbed together that there is mood of separation, but there is all like we serve our Guru in separation. So there is always this hope that we will meet one day and we will, catch up again. Will again be reunited. Milan will happen. But Karun Bhav means that the person is gone and there is no possible. This is, yes, you're right. Karunya meaning typically in English, just in general common use is to invoke the feeling of, like for Ramayana, it is said it is supposed to invoke the feeling of Karunya Bhav in us. It is a lot of deep, intense sorrow. So not so much separation, but sorrow. So Karunya is typically being referred to as sorrow, slightly different from separation. So Viraya is separation, Karunya is sorrow. That's a summary.
I see. Okay.
Maybe I don't know if it is like more technical understanding that he has, but the bhav that we are, that we describe between gopis and Krishna, that is, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's feelings, those are Vipralamba bhav or feeling of separation. But for Ramayana, it is specifically said typically it's sorrow more than, yes, there is separation, but there is also a lot of plain sorrow.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Do you have any insights? Please share.
No, Mataji. Thank you very much. I can read the next one.
Yes, please.
Is 48?
Yes.
Jata nirmuchya vidhivat.
Jata nirmuchya vidhivat
Kula vridhai samam guruhu.
kula mritai samam guru
Abhyasinchad yathayvendram.
abhyashinchad yathayvendram
Chatu sindhu jaladibhi.
chatu sindhu jaladibhi.
Translation: the family priest or spiritual master Vaishishta had Lord Ramacandra cleanly shaved, freeing him from his matted locks of hair. Then, with the cooperation of the elderly members of the family, he performed the bathing ceremony Abhishek for Lord Ramacandra with the water of the four seas and with other substances, just as it was performed for King Indra. Hare Krishna. So here, Lord Ram, he came back and beautifully welcomed, and now he's actually getting clean shaved, Supreme Lord, and because he had all those matted hairs, and it's all being conducted under the supervision of Vashishta Rishi, Vashishta Muni. And it's mentioned here that the Abhishekam of the Lord was done. This Abhishekam is being done with waters from, here it is mentioned 4 seas. Elsewhere I read from all the holy places, the waters were obtained. And for the devotees of Lord Ram, it wasn't very difficult, and they were able to do it in a very short span of time. Pretty much decided one day prior that, oh, this is how the Abhishekam has to be done, or maybe one night before. And all these great devotees, Hanuman and all, they went to different places and they were able to gather these holy waters from all the different places. But it was described that Srila Prabhupada, when they were doing Srila Prabhupada's centennial, I think it was a few years ago, they had also this plan of bathing Srila Prabhupada with waters from all the holy places, many holy places. And for that, they had to prepare actually for year and a half or 2 years in advance. They had planned that this is how they will do. And they took time to bring waters from all the holy places. So this is something I heard some time back, that the form of the Lord Rāmacandra, his devotees, they were so enthusiastic, and there were no material limitations for them. They could actually, when they want to serve the Lord in a certain manner, it will happen. That is how their faith and their conviction was. Okay, we have to find Mother Sita, so we have, without finding her, we are not going to come back. We will find her. Or when Lakshman is actually wanting to he fainted in the battlefield, and he needed the Sanjeevani booty, right? So different herbs, whatever he needed. Hanumanji just did not think whether it is possible or not possible. He just knew that this is what is needed for the service of the Lord, and it is to be done. And immediately he went and did his best. And the Lord says that for the service of the Lord, whatever we have, Lord preserves, and whatever we don't have, Lord provides, right? From the Bhagavad Gita. So that is how we can see practically in the Ramayana, every single time, whatever was their abilities, the Lord was keeping them. Like, for example, even the armies of Ravan, they were very well equipped with weapons. The amount of weapons they had, they could have defeated so many, hundreds and millions of times more people than what they had, because their weapons were so strong and powerful. And here in the army of the monkeys, they did not have any proper weapons. Sometimes in the TV we see that they have very strong, nice weapons which they are fighting, but actually only Ram and Lakshman, they had the training and the weapons. Others did not have even proper weapons. Very few. They were using rocks, stones, pebbles, different things. Prabhupada is explaining in the purport of one of these verses previously, that they did not have proper training or proper weapons, but because they were doing their best, Lord provided whatever was needed. So you do the best and leave the rest. So that's how impossible things were becoming possible. And same thing is true here also. When they desired to do the Abhishekam of the Lord, even though it was, very difficult, so far away, but it was not much for the devotees of Lord Ram. because they had the enthusiasm, they had the determination, and they had the courage, perseverance, and they were able to do it. So those are few thoughts, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah. When you were sharing, I'll just share a couple realizations that were coming to my mind. So, like you said, devotees in Lord Ram's pastimes, they did such wonderful feats, basically on the strength of Lord Ram's name and empowered by him. So building bridges, jumping over the ocean, lifting mountains for Lord Ram, Shabri waiting for so many years patiently in the cottage for Lord Ram to come. Jatayu, even though he's so old and fragile and has no weapons to fight with this mighty Ravan who's equipped with all weapons and fast plane, even then tackling him, right, without any resources. Or Vibhishan, who leaves all the all the opulences, all the luxuries of the palace to join Lord Ram's army. So many things they were doing to please Lord Ram, to satisfy him, to uh, be on his side, to um, you know, basically to show their love for him. And I was thinking that actually, if you look at Prabhupada's disciples, they were similar. They maybe don't have much know-how of things or skills, or not skills, but did not know. Like, so for example, we know so much about Ramayana and already have so much background knowledge about Krishna and maybe to some extent about Bhagavad Gita. But basically, just to please Prabhupada, just to get small exchanges from him. Like Hanuman, all he wanted was to be, um, you know, um, he wanted some small exchange. So I think it is described how Lord Ram embraced Hanuman, and Hanuman was so overcome, so completely overwhelmed when Lord Ram embraced him. And he did not think he was fit enough for the embrace, so he just tried to fall at his feet. That famous picture where we see Hanuman and Ram embracing each other. And so when you read Prabhupada and his disciples' memories, the disciples are just describing these small exchanges with Prabhupada. They were doing some service and Prabhupada just did this. And they remember that just little gesture where Prabhupada acknowledged their service for their whole life. And based on that little gesture from Prabhupada, they dedicated their whole life to the service of Prabhupada and the movement. One day I was like, one day what he described, I was brooming, I was just cleaning the temple, and Prabhupada saw me up top from his room. He had come out to get some fresh air, and he just looked at me and he did this to me, that acknowledge that you're cleaning the temple at this time of night. And I cannot forget that gesture, and because of that gesture I have been completely devoted, dedicated to Prabhupada all my life. So this last like so many years. So like that, as you see in case of Lord Ram's devotees and Prabhupada's disciples, I was just drawing parallels, how they were also lifting mountains and crossing oceans and building bridges, and so determined and so renunciate like Vibhishan.
Yes, Mataji. In fact, Prabhupada made that comparison a few times.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
yeah, Prabhupada made that comparison. Actually, one time he was in Vrindavan at the top of you. You've been to Vrindavan, Prabhupada's quarter, right?
Yes.
So actually, if you go now, they don't allow, but in the behind there are stairs. Actually, there is a veranda behind where he used to sit and take lectures for the devotees, and there are stairs by which you go upstairs. And Prabhupada would go upstairs through the stairs, and he'll get massage there. Okay, so with Prabhupada's health and everything, uh, one time there was a situation where devotees were trying to get Prabhupada to sit on the chair and then bring him up and down. And then there was a one thing Prabhupada quotes, I can't remember it. I think it's there in Leelamrit. He said, "Mota mota bandar, lamba lamba pet," something of that sort. Basically, it translates into that they were not able to actually take Prabhupada down. So Prabhupada mentions that, uh, this is like the this is the condition, just like in Ramayan, the monkeys, they were big monkeys, they will eat, they have very good appetite, eating and stuff is very good and very strong. But when it comes to, jumping the ocean, then they are, thinking, oh, who will do it, can't do it. So basically they were not able to successfully take Prabhupada down. So Prabhupada was kind of making, in a light way, having fun with them, saying that how, the monkeys in my army, they are kind of not able to execute very well. So, so things like that were there, where Prabhupada will crack light jokes with his disciples. But you're right. One thing I was reminded is His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj. So he joined a little later, towards the later part of Srila Prabhupada's preaching, but he was close to Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and he got the chance to actually be the servant of Srila Prabhupada towards the last part, when Prabhupada was actually departing. So at that time, he was serving, massaging, doing all sorts of service. And Prabhupada at that time mentioned to him, he said, so many lives you have given to Maya. Just this one life, if you give to Krishna, then you'll be all safe. You'll be safe forever. And he says that one interaction is sustaining me throughout all the ups and downs going on for so many decades, for like 50 years. Because he got sannyas at that time from Srila Prabhupada, and it was very close, like he joined and then he got sannyas like very fast. And he said, that is how I sustained my my life in Krishna consciousness, by that interaction with Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, Prabhuji. So a lot of parallels here. Yes, thank you. So we see that Lord's Leelas are actually always going on. They're unfolding even now in front of us. So that's why what Prabhupada did was such a miracle. It was such a Leela. And people think that, okay, भगवान की लीला तो बस scriptures में ही है और वो खत्म हो गई अभी कुछ, लेकिन लीला is still going on. You're just not part of, you're choosing not to be part of it. So this
There
thank
is
you.
saying, right? हिंदी में ऐसे कहते हैं ना भूतो ना भविष्यति. Srila Prabhupada's Leela seems to be something like that. Na bhuto na bhavishyati.
ना
I
कभी
mean,
हुई थी ना कभी होगी.
हाँ, ना कभी हुई ना कभी होगी. That a person comes to a different culture, different place, not familiar with it, with अभी कुछ साल में जनरेशन गैप हो जाता है. मतलब ऐसा भी नहीं कि पेरेंट्स से बच्चों तक आओ. Even in few years there is a generation gap. Or Prabhupada and his disciples, they were like 3, 4, 5 generations. Like Prabhupada was 80 and these kids were like, teens or 20, 21, like that. And Srila Prabhupada had no money, and Prabhupada had no, like, even the the way he was speaking was very difficult for everybody to understand. Some of them were able to understand, some of the Americans even right now cannot understand. They say, like one devotee was telling, I play Prabhupada lecture, but I cannot understand Prabhupada lecture. Like I have to read the subtitles to actually get it. So, so many troubles and hindrances and problems were there. But in spite of all of that, Krishna had sent Srila Prabhupada as his Senapati, as what is mentioned in the scriptures. He was the Senapati Bhakta. Radheshyam Prabhu actually gives 25 predictions of Srila Prabhupada from the scriptures. He gives that and makes a nice PowerPoint. Actually, 2-3 years ago, he gave this offering at Srila Prabhupada's this thing. Very, very nice quotations he quoted from different scriptures of how Srila Prabhupada was actually predicted. And This is not ordinary, because we see prior to that never happened that an Indian comes to America and 10,000 people shaved up going behind, and he goes to one airport, talks to one person for a couple of minutes and initiates him there, and then he opens a temple, and then he goes to another place and he initiates someone in Moscow in 2 days, and that person opens a temple, and the preaching is going like wildfire. All the news and everywhere, Beatles are becoming devotees, news channels are saying, USSR government is saying that there are three threats to the civilization of USSR. What is this? Rock and roll, Coca-Cola, and Hare Krishna, something like that. So this is like, how wildfire is also can't spread, throughout the globe like this. So this is how, the whole movement was spreading. And, we can see that nobody after Srila Prabhupada left, nobody has been able to do at the same level at which Srila Prabhupada did. And prior to that, so many personalities in India were there, nobody could do it. So this is very special uh, kind of a pastime of Srila Prabhupada. And one Harvard professor, he's an emeritus professor, there's a nice video of few minutes, maybe 2-3 minutes, where he does express, in a beautiful words, what is the level of Srila Prabhupada. He says there are no parallels actually. You may say Jesus or Muhammad, but in the first 50 years of starting Christianity or starting Islam, there were a lot more problems, and it did not spread to so many continents in 50 years and did not have so many people following it. So the way this is going is like exponentially much better than what what we would have if we were to compare to anything in the history. I'll stop here.
Okay, let's read. Who wants to read the next one? Okay, I can read. Evam krita shirasnana, evam krita shirasnana, suvasa sragvi alankrita, suvasa sragvya alankrita, swalankritay suvasobhir, swalankritay suvasobhir, भ्रातृभिर्भार्यया बभौ, भ्रातृभिर्भार्यया बभौ. Lord Ramachandra, fully bathed and his head clean-shaven, dressed himself very nicely and was decorated with a garland and ornaments. Thus he shone brightly, surrounded by his brothers and wife, who were similarly dressed and ornamented. So he's clean shaven, cleaned up all the matted locked hair, fully bathed, ornamented, dressed very nicely, decorated, and shining very brightly. And brothers and wife also similarly dressed and ornamented. So they're looking like moons and stars. I think we'll keep going. We have about 5 or 6 more verses to go. So anyone wants to read this one?
Yes, I can read. Agrahida asanam bharatara
Agrahid asanam
bhradra pranipatya prasadita
Pranipatya prasadita
prajaha swadharmas nirata
praja
Raja
swadharmanirta
Swadharmanirata
varnasrama gunanvita
varnashrama
Varnashram
gunanvita
Gunanvitaha
jugopa pitravramo
jugopa pitrivadramo
Vadramo
merire pitarem chatam.
menire
Minire Pitram Chatam.
Translation. Being pleased by the full surrender and submission of Lord Bharata, Lord Ramachandra then accepted the throne of the state. He cared for the citizens exactly like a father and the citizens being, I can't see it further, being fully engaged in their occupational duties of Varna and Ashrama, accepted him as their father.
Okay, so yeah, you want to share something, Miss Masin?
Yes, he was, since he has come back, Lord Ramacandra has accepted the throne of the state. He cared for the citizens like a father, and all the citizens were happy with him, and they were engaged in their occupational duties, accepted him as their father. All the citizens of that country was very happy, and they were pleased to see him back.
Okay, yes, thank you for sharing. So yeah, this is Ram Rajya. He's caring for the citizens like a father, and they're all engaged in their varnashram duties and accepted him as their father. Okay, we'll keep reading unless anyone wants to share anything. Okay, who wants to read next?
One thing that struck me was this is the first time I've read about that Lord Shri Ram had shaved his head earlier on the last shloka, previous shloka. I never heard that before. So nice to know. I can read this. Tretayam vartamanam nayam
Tretayam vartamanayam
kalah krit samo abhavat
kala krita samo bhavat
Rame rajani dharmagya
Rame rajani dharmagya
sarvabhuta sukhavahe.
sarvabhuta
Sarvabhuta
sukhavahai.
sukhavahe.
Lord Ramchandra became king during Treta Yuga, but because of his good government, the age was like Satyug. Everyone was religious and completely happy. Hare Krishna. So it's described that even though Lord Ram appeared in Treta Yuga, during Ram Rajya, it was almost like Satyug because there was no quarrels and problems, and it was like Satyug, the level of peace and harmony that was there during Ram Rajya. Hare Krishna.
Keep going. Anyone wants to share anything? Keep going.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I can read the next.
Yes.
Vanani nadyo girayo
Vanani nadeo girayo
Varshani dvipasindava
Varshani
Varshani
Pasindava
Deepasandhava
Sarve kamaduga asan
Sarve Kamduga Asan
Prajanam Bharatarshava
Prajanam
Prajanam
Bharatarshava.
Bhartarshava.
O Maharaj Parikshit, best of the Bharata dynasty, during the reign of Lord Ramchandra, the forests, the rivers, the hills and mountains, the states, the 7 islands, and the 7 seas were all favorable in supplying the necessities of life for all living beings. Hare Krishna. So, just to summarize, Lord Ram has now returned to Ayodhya and he has accepted the throne, and he is the description of how the kingdom was doing under his rule is being described so beautifully in the last couple verses, and I think next couple of verses are also talking about that. So yes, Mataji, nothing else to add.
Thank you, Mataji, for sharing. So you can see how Mother Earth, how the aspect of Mother Earth, hills, mountains, islands, seas, they were all satisfied, they were all happy, they were all at peace. So when Mother Earth is happy, this is described in other places also. When Mother Earth is happy, she provides a lot of resources, and her richness to that kingdom where a righteous king rules. And this is Lord himself, or if there is a representative of the Lord ruling, who rules very properly according to the dharma, then she's not burdened. There are no sins being committed, crimes being committed on her body. And so she's not being exploited, so she provides very, very nicely, very happily, like a mother. Basically, she's a mother. So just like mother cow, you can draw a parallel with that. When cow is nicely taken care of, and you don't exploit her, then she herself supplies very, very favorably, very, very pleasingly, um, to the a lot of milk. Actually, she provides a lot of milk then, if she's loved. So here Mother Earth is feeling loved, a righteous king is ruling on her, so all her various resources are in abundance. There is no dearth, there is no problems in such, like all these famines and these things don't happen in such a condition. So, this is described somewhere else also in Bhagavatam. Okay, we keep reading. Anybody wants to read the next one?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji.
Nadi vyadi jara glani
Nadi vyadi jara glani
dukkha shoka bhayaklama
dukkha shoka bhayaklama
mrityush mrityushchani chatamam mrityushchani chatam nase
mrityuschani chatam nasid
rame rajya rajnay adhokshaje.
rame rajanya dhokshaje.
When Lord Ramchandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was the king of the world, all bodily and mental suffering, disease, and old age, what is this?
Bereavement.
So what is this, Mataji?
Bereavement.
Bereavement. Okay. Lamentation, distress, fear, and fatigue were completely absent. There was even no death for those who did not want it. Oh, okay. So as Mataji explained that, like how the Mother Earth was very happy and giving everything in abundance, right? So here, when Lord Ramchandra is, ruling as a king, and he's the king of the world. So, like he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So anything which is around the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot face any kind of material problems like death and all that stuff, right? So there is no such kind of a suffering, disease, old age, or any kind of distress of the people around there. And and there was even no death for those who did not want it. So I don't know who would want it, but yeah. So kind of like this is the time for them to really enjoy his kingdom, right? And enjoy his with him, how he rules and all that things. So now people are very, very happy. So I'm sure this is who did not want it for the older age group. Like if they do not want, they want to stay with him more and spend time, so they be given a chance here to live more. Yeah, that's it. Mataji.
Okay, so basically a lot of negative things were absent. Fear, fatigue, lamentation, anxiety, disease, suffering, old age. So you can see that Ravan was trying to reverse the rules of nature by being violent against various demigods, by exploiting them. He was trying to reverse the rules of the nature. But here you can see that by ruling righteously and establishing dharma, also a lot of rules of nature were being restricted, because death, disease, old age, suffering, all these things are otherwise part and parcel of material world. But they were very much limited in Lord Ramachandra's rule, because people are very, happy, and there are no anxieties and fear, and they're under Lord Ram, under Bhagwan's shelter. So there's no sufferings. And probably they are not very attached either. If they're living according to Varnashram, they're probably not very attached to material possessions, and so maybe not too much fear of death either. They're probably leaving their body timely and moving on. But I'd be speculating. I'm taking this to mean that there were many of the negative aspects of the material world, which is, but because of which we call it dukhalyam, were missing, because this was at that time. This is not dukhalyam because Lord Himself is present. So everything has become very prosperous, beautiful, and no anxiety, no fear, just all bliss and happiness. Okay, 2 more to go. Who wants to read this next one? Finish this chapter. Okay, I'll read this one. एकपत्नी व्रताधरो राजर्षि चरिता शुचि स्वधर्मं गृहमेध्यं शिक्षयन् स्वयमाचरत्. Lord Ramachandra took a vow to accept only one wife and have no connection with any other women. He was a saintly king, and everything in his character was good, untinged by qualities like anger. He taught good behavior for everyone, especially for householders, in terms of varnashram dharma. Thus, he taught the general public by his personal activities. Okay, so this we know that Lord has taken Ek Patni Vrat, so only one wife, and in those ages, that Kshatriyas were allowed more than one wife if like Dashrath Maharaj had more than one, but Lord Ram had taken one wife vow, Ek Patni Vrat. And then it is describing how he was a very saintly king. He was a Rajarishi. He was a saintly king, complete, perfect. If like many other kings have followed in his footsteps, like Yudhishthir Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, Amrish Maharaj. They're all Raj Rishis or saintly kings. And we know that Lord Ram is Maryada Purushottam. So his conduct, his character, his etiquettes, his qualities were untainted, uncontaminated by any useless qualities or anarthas. So he did not have any anarthas, any anger, and all those pride, greed, illusion, attachment, those kind of things. And he always established the best of conduct, especially for householders. So he himself, being a householder, he established the best conduct for grahamedis, it says. So they are practicing according to varnashram dharma. So their life is, they're living their life according to the varnashram dharma. And by his own example, through his own personal activities, he taught the general public. So this we know. Yad yadacharti shreshthas tattadevatero janam sa yad pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. That whatever the Shresht people do, the general ordinary people follow. And when Krishna spoke that verse in Bhagavad Gita, he had actually mentioned, he had given the example of Janak Maharaj, who is actually father-in-law of Lord Ramachandra, or another pure devotee, a Mahajan. So all these Mahajans, they teach by their example. So Lord Ramachandra is also establishing the etiquettes, the proper conduct for householders and for kings in general, and even for normal, ordinary men. Okay, anyone wants to read the last verse? Rakshita Mataji, you want to read again?
Yes, Mataji. प्रेम्णानुवृत्तया शीलेन
प्रेम्णानुवृतया शीलेन
प्रश्यावनता सती
प्रश्रयावनता सती
भिया क्रिया च भावग्न
भियारिया च भावज्ञा
भर्तुर्सीताहरणम हरणम
भर्तु सीता हरन्मना.
हरणमना. Mother Sita was very submissive, faithful, shy, and chaste, always understanding the attitude of her husband. Thus, by her character and her love and service, she completely attracted the mind of the Lord. Okay. So these are the qualities of Mother Sita and why the Lord was attracted to her. Yeah, that's it, Mataji.
Ram Gopal Prabhu, Ansh Prabhu, were you sharing something?
Mataji, can we play a Kahoot quiz?
Oh, bol. That's a surprise test. It's a pop quiz. But okay, yeah, definitely. Well, thank you everyone for this reading of chapter 10th, 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Pastimes of Lord Ramacandra. And we will round this up with Ansh Prabhu's Kahoot quiz. Please, nobody leave. It will take just a few minutes. So if you have another device, let's open the device and play the quiz. Please log into Kahoot. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Ansh Prabhu, for making the quiz. I'll stop the screen share and you can, and I think you should have the ability to share the screen for Kahoot. Whenever you want, Ansh Prabhu, we are ready. I'm ready for Kahoot. Rakshita Mataji, Rekha Mataji, Navya, Vidushi Mataji.
Mataji, I don't have another device actually.
Mataji, कुछ तो होगा, iPad कुछ होगा.
नहीं माताजी नहीं है.
इसी पे खेल लो फिर.
फोन पे कैसे खेलूंगी मैं? इस पे कोई होता है तरीका?
Kahoot की ऐप से खेल सकते हो. थोड़ा मुश्किल होगा to toggle between screen.
हाँ.
Mataji, I'm cooking. I'm doing tarka and dinner.
अच्छा, खेल लो साइड में रख के, एक डिवाइस साथ में रख के.
ओके, देखती मैं डिवाइस ढूंढूं. ओके. Naina, can I borrow your phone?
Nagarjun Prabhu, you have a device?
I want to play Kahoot. That's it.
माताजी फोन पे कैसे होगा? मतलब अनम्यूट कर बिना किए ही मैं कर सकती हूँ. I can answer.
हाँ, unmute से कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. You just have to see the question. Question देखने में दिक्कत होगी थोड़ी सी, लेकिन
I think if you are on a computer, then you can open two browsers. In
हाँ,
computer,
कंप्यूटर पे हो जाएगा.
प्रभु जी फोन है मेरे पास तो अभी.
फोन है
मेरे पास भी, और मेरी बेटी फोन यूज कर रही है अपना.
Kahoot.it पे जाना पड़ेगा.
मतलब ये नैना को कहो कि नैना खेले.
We came with 5%.
She can play.
5%. You have 5%.
She can play with 5%.
You can play with 5%. You play Kahoot. Okay, so कैसे join करें? एक मिनट
मैं स्क्रीन शेयर कर रहा हूँ.
ऐप तो है मेरे पास, उससे मैं तो कर इसे I can try.
कैसे प्ले कैसे करना है अंश?
Mama, you have a device? Navya has a device.
Okay, you just need a game pin, I think. Naina, even Navya is playing. Come. Oh, you're doing a paper.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording actually.
नव्या ले गई मेरा.